The anterior column is going to be pretty much what? Descending tracts, so it's going to be cerebro something, spinal. Right? Either anterior or maybe lateral. Right? So in this case, we're going to have, some of them are going to be ascending, so we are going to have the spinal thalamic tract, but most of them are going to be the descending tracts, which is going to be motor. So it's going to be corticospinal. And so again, here's where we say that most of them are going to go down and going to cross at just below the medulla oblongata, at the pyramidal degustation. So usually this was called a pyramidal system, but now they're not really using that terminology. But just so if you know, if you hear something talk about pyramidal system, it's pretty much the motor spinal tract. And so then motor, it crosses. One side of the brain is going to affect motor to the other side of the body. And if it's in the spinal cord, is it going to be usually the same side of the body or the opposite side? Same side usually, because most of them cross up at the top. Then we talked about dermatomes, and those are, again, it has to do with embryology. And it's like as your arm buds develop or your leg buds, you know, think of it starts out like this. So each one goes up, and then as it comes out like this, so you have, see, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 is going to get into here, 6, 7, 8, T1, T2, and then we get into all the thoracic ones down here. And then on the legs, it sort of kind of goes, spirals around. We'll get more into that when we do dermatomes in the lower extremity, but it's kind of like a barbell. Slides around. Like we're going to have here is going to be L1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4 comes around on the medial side of the knee. It's going to go down into the medial side of the foot and the big toe. Then 5, then S1, S2. Again, it's kind of like if you think of your leg out like this. So this side's going to be a lower number, L4, and then 5, and then S1 coming 2 and down around the back. But when you put the extremities in like this, then that's why you get like a barber pole kind of thing, and the legs it spirals around.
So that's there we go to prickles.
Then we talk about the motor relay, and that's where you get into like what's upper motor neuron, what's lower motor neuron. Okay? And so remember, the upper motor neuron has an inhibitory effect on the lower motor neuron. Because the lower motor neuron by itself is a functioning unit. You can have reflexes that you have sensory input, you touch something hot on the stove, the impulse goes to your spinal cord, goes right back out to the muscle. It doesn't need to go to the brain. So your body is wired so that it can protect itself quicker. Okay, so that lower motor neuron has impulses going through it all the time. So then you have the upper motor neuron that tells you, hey, calm down. You don't need to be moving around and jerking all the time. So if you get an upper motor neuron lesion, like something in the brain or in the upper part, then you're going to get things like the spastic paralysis and fasciculations and fibrillations and clonus and abnormal pathologic reflex. And then again, just understand where they're crossing, like when we talked about the corticospinal tract, that they cross up high in the spinal cord and go down to the same side. And then you have the actual, where's the actual spot where you have the synapse between the upper motor neuron and the lower motor neuron?
The gray matter.
Gray matter. So what would be more specific?
Spinal.
At the spinal cord level, but which horn? Ventral, yeah, anterior or ventral horn, right? So anterior horn, the upper motor neuron synapses with the lower motor. So then we talked about the different things that, as far as symptoms of upper motor versus lower motor. Upper motor is going to be like cerebral palsy, things like that, and multiple sclerosis. Then you get the Babinski's, basically all the things that are increased. Reflexes are increased. Fasciculations, fibrillations, clonus, all that stuff is increased. Okay, lower motor neuron, you're not getting anything going in the muscles. They got nothing going on, okay? They're going to atrophy, they're going to be flaccid, they're not going to be moving or fasciculating, fibrillating, any of that stuff. Pretty much DOA, right?
Sometimes if you
But isn't it not,
so basically,
or in contraction of the muscle?
Fasciculations and fibrillations are present.
The other ones didn't have.
Yeah, okay,
Because
so that's,
they're
I was flipping that, okay, so that's for sure.